reigning, defending UFC Flyweight champion. I'll try to give you a Bruce Buffer there, too.
Wow.
It's all good, baby.
Well, Demetrious, it seems there's a lot of contenders growing here in the mix, especially right now with the McCall and Lineker fight. But when you see a guy like Lineker who could be on the cusp of that and he's missing weight, what are your initial thoughts on that?
Big shit show. I mean, I told Sean Shelby his face a long time ago. I was like, man, you should have fired him a long time ago, man. But, you know, Sean Shelby said he's a great fighter, and, I mean, you can't deny that, man, his skills. He has hard hands. He knocks people out. And it's very unfortunate. You know, he's only hindering his career. A lot of people, you know, told me, I was like, man, he's messing it up for you. And I was like, I know, man, he's messing up my pocketbook. I mean, you know, the cards are filling up, and, you know, let's say John Lineker goes out there and beats up Ian McCall, then it's like, oh, well, fantastic. You know, it's almost to the point now, I got to wait for other people's success in this sport for me to get a fight. But that's the way it is.
Well, if McCall were to win the fight, I mean, obviously a trilogy, I think fans might be interested in that. What would you think about a trilogy with McCall should he take the W?
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know, I'm just here to fight and compete and keep being a champion. If that's something the UFC wants to do, I'm up for anything. Right now, I obviously I don't have an opponent. I'm up for anything.
There's Kyoji Horiguchi. He seems to be kind of unique and interested in fighting you also, but wants a top 5 opponent first. What do you think about him and who's coming up here in the division?
Yeah, I think he's a great fighter, and I think him climbing a ladder is the right thing to do. I mean, you see a lot of guys, they're all just focused on the belt, you know, and I think he's doing a smart thing is fighting. You know what, I beat, you know, Louis Gridnight, who came off a year layoff for drug suspension, so, you know, Louis Gridnight had to get off that ring rest, and, you know, he kind of, you know, out-wrestled him, you know, did not really strike him or anything. And I think Horiguchi, you know, because at the top 5, you know, we're all beasts up there, you know, with Dotson, Joseph Benavidez, and I think he's probably looking at the long term. Like if he was to dismantle me, you know, Joseph will come up right behind me and take it from him, or either Dotson. So for me, I've shown that I'm able to be a champion and be a great champion where I can beat the top 5s. You know, I just didn't get here and get the belt and then lose it. I'm hanging on to this bad boy.
In the meantime, what about just going up and wait a little bit, playing around a little, your belt won't be on the line, just to keep yourself busy?
You know, that's something that obviously that'll be fun to do. And I think the UFC probably doesn't want that to happen because it kind of hurts their marketability, I would assume. If I go up there, then let's say I get whooped, and everybody's like, well, he just lost his last fight at 135, but he's a 125-pound champion. So I think for them, they don't want to touch on that that subject yet. Obviously, you know, everybody's been talking about the Superfights and all that stuff, and I had a dream the other day. I was sleeping, I woke up, and you know, there's been a couple fighters that inspire me. He goes, I don't care about the belt, I just care about the money. And I was like, you know what, I'll fight TJ Dillashaw. $2 million. That's what I want, Dana. They have it or not. So obviously, you know, like John Jones said, he would go up and fight Cain Velasquez. As long as the purse is right, you know, I see nothing wrong with that.
You seem pretty anxious to get back in there. I mean, how much are you itching to get it back in the octagon right now?
You know, it's not the itching. It's just, you know, when I fought my last fight in September and it's looking like I'm going to be fighting to May, you know, you got to remember when I first became champion, I was fighting 3 times a year. And my body was, and I had surgery that year as well. So, you know, I was very active and I loved it. And now, you know, last year I fought twice. And now it's, you know, I don't want to slow down. I'm young. I'm able to recuperate fast. You know, at this time, you know, you think about Anderson Silva, he fights once a year when he was champion. Granted, he made enough money where he could fight once a year and he can take the rest of the year off, you know. I'm not to that point yet. Obviously, I can do that. But I want to keep very active because I'm only young. I'm only going to get older. And eventually, I'm not going to recover as fast. So,
you know, you talk about marketability, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people that if you were in a greater weight class, a higher weight class, you know, you would probably get more respect and people would understand how. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're technically so sound, and I feel like you're underappreciated very often. And do you find that there's an issue with marketing the lighter weight classes, or do you find that it's just a prejudice because people have just more used to the bigger weight classes? What do you think it is, the holdup with people really grasping on to the lighter weight class?
You know, I think this is very new division. I mean, just like the women's strawweight and the bantamweight division. And, you know, you have one big star in the bantamweight. You have many stars in the bantamweight division of the women's. But the biggest one, the shiniest one, is Ronda Rousey, obviously. And people gravitate probably to that because they love watching women fight. And I think for the flyweight division, even the bantamweight and the featherweight, you know, we're slowly coming along. And I think because people, you know, this man right here is bigger than me, and, you know, he's probably the average male size of America, you know. Me, not so much. In Japan, Asia, they're like, boy, you're tall. And I'm like, why, thank you. I appreciate that. So it's a little bit different. I think, you know, a guy on the couch can sit there and be like, dude, I'll weigh like 185. I'll just sit on this dude. So I think that's a little correlation to what maybe they're not catching on as much.
You spoke about Dodson earlier. He recently went out in an interview saying something along the lines that you were holding the division back because of lack of personality. How do you respond to that?
You know, obviously, you know, there's people in the division like John Dodson, Ian McCall, and I'm a family man. You know, I have a son. I got another one on the way. I got a wife. I got responsibilities, and obviously, you know, I have responsibilities. You know, when I'm out here in the sport, and if you guys believe what he's saying that I'm holding the division back, then you guys can run on his choo-choo train. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm doing my job. The UFC lets me know when I'm going to fight. I sign a contract. I show up. I whoop ass, and then I go back home. That's my job. When I have to do interviews, I give you guys my honest opinion about everything, and I'm pretty much open. And if you know me, you would know I have a personality. If you don't know me, then you would think I am a coffee mug, or you want something I have.
Well, do you think maybe he's saying that to try and sort of campaign for a rematch with you?
I mean, obviously, they're always going to rattle the beehive. But for me, like I said, when I'm out here, I'll do my interviews and give my honest opinions. When I'm at home, I'm not a person who jumps on Twitter and runs my mouth. And when I do interviews, you know, I have nothing against Ian McCall, John Dodson. They're all great guys. They're fantastic athletes. We fought. I beat them. We will obviously fight again, whether I'm champion or not champion. And when our paths cross, we will fight. Other than that, just nothing to say.
And just to touch on John Lineker, it's recently been announced that Dana may force him to move up to a bantamweight division because he's been missing weight so many times. Do you feel that's the right move, or do you maybe wish that you could have fought him once?
I told somebody today, they're like, don't let him go back to 135. And they're like, well, there's no point. He would never make the weight to fight John. I was like, I don't give a damn. I was like, if we were to fight and we'll weigh in, and if he missed it, I'm like, okay, it's still fine. We'll still fight. We're going to fight 5 rounds still. And you won't get the belt if you win, and I'll take 20% and we'll still fight. So for me, I hate this side where it's like, oh, we got to market people against you, unless it's like, in wrestling in high school, it was a tournament bracket. Whether this person was very popular or not, you still got to wrestle them. Whether they're ranked seed number 9 or you're number 1, you still got to wrestle them. So in mixed martial arts, in a business, in a organization towards a show, you know, I feel that I won't be able to test myself against what John Lineker can offer. Because a lot of people out there is like, man, John Lineker, you know, there's people out there, he's the best fighter in the flyweight division, he has power, he can knock you out. And I was like, shoot, I'll test myself against him. I mean, why not?
But in terms of that weight cut, I mean, we've seen guys put themselves in danger trying to repeatedly cut weight. Do you think that there needs to be mechanisms in place to ensure that fighters who, you know, maybe can't do it are forced to go up?
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting. I would say this year, maybe a little bit of last year, you're starting to see a lot of fighters miss weight and pass out and be sick. And I tell my little brother-in-law, he goes, well, you make 125. And I was like, dude, trust me, if I had to fight, make weight and fight the same day, you know, compete within like 5 hours, I wouldn't be at 125. I'll be at 135. But you're seeing these guys, they want to be the biggest guy in the division. They want to do it because, oh man, I walk around 155, and if I can make 125, I'll be dominant, I'll be a force. And it's like, dude, I walk around 142 drinking beer and eating burgers, and that's what I walk around at. When I step in the octagon, I weigh 142. Right now, I'll probably weigh 143, maybe 144 since I've been eating today, but other than that, I'm not a very big guy.
Can I just know your thoughts about the main fight today? Anderson is returning to the octagon. How do you think it's going to go this fight?
I think when he comes out, he's going to be very emotional. It's going to be a great fight. You know, Nick Diaz comes forward, he crosses distance very well. He throws a lot of punches, high volume. He goes to the upstairs, downstairs, upstairs very well. And he almost kind of fights like a traditional boxer, like, you know, pop, 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 up top. Anderson, he's very good. You know, the biggest thing that gets Anderson in trouble is that he tries to mesmerize people to where he gets here and he has people extend, but then they think he's really this far, but he's actually there to people. You know, when you watch Forrest, he's here, he's moving, he's doing this, and then he hits the person. So if he can do that to Nick Diaz, then obviously he'll knock Nick Diaz out, but it's going to be a tough fight just because Anderson's coming off that leg injury, which I think that won't hinder him, but it's going to be a little bit to get back in there. And, you know, once you saw that first kick, he goes, oh, it didn't break. I'm good. So we'll see.
You're a big gamer. What's currently rocking the Xbox at the Mighty Mouse house?
It's Destiny, and I'm actually going back playing Resident Evil's HD remastered. So I'm going back to playing on a hardest difficulty.
Can you talk about, you're cleaning out the division. Do you have struggle a little bit getting motivated for some of these guys after you beat them, and then you have to beat them again, and then what happens after that if you don't move up in weight? What do you do?
You keep on fighting. You keep on beating the next guy in line, Just because I'm at the top of the mountain doesn't hurt to climb down the mountain to fight the people who are trying to climb back up the mountain, Just get up, get off, So for me, I'm just staying here, going to keep on competing. You got Sergio Pettis who's dropped down, Horiguchi's here, Henry Cejudo if he can make the weight. So there's still more guys. Zach McCostic's still down here, Juicer Formiga's still down here. I mean, granted, all those guys who've been in the division, and obviously they lost to Joseph Benavidez or Zach's lost to Formiga, but these guys are still here. So for me, I don't worry about that. Oh man, there's nobody left in the division. I'm just going to go back up. I have not fought those guys yet, and I would love to.
How's the Reebok deal going to affect your Xbox?
Well, obviously, with the Reebok deal, it's a big thing for the sport, the UFC itself. He's over there. He's like, I just want to make sure everything's going good. No, I'm playing. No, obviously the Reebok deal, it's a great thing for me, and I think I speak for all the fighters out there. Obviously, we can't bring anything into the octagon that we can wear, So obviously, we probably will not see Xbox in the octagon anymore once that thing launches. And obviously, I've talked to Xbox outside of out of things, and hopefully we can be able to do stuff outside of the UFC, activate me. I'm actually having lunch with them on Monday, and hopefully some good things come out of it.
Have you considered a tattoo?
I was actually hanging out with Tyron Woodley last night, and I was like, you should do make sure just put it right in front of your chest and see what happens. And he goes, they'll make you cover it up. Don't worry about it. Don't make you cover it up. So,
or they'll change their name the next day.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Awesome. Thanks, champ.
That's it.
DJ.
All right, there we go.